Man, if there was a moment I wouldn't want to be a star is right now, like for The Rock. Man, The Rock is having a difficult time. I mean, Red One bombed in the box office, like it just crashed and burned. Moana 2, if you've seen some of the reviews that are coming out, wow, yeah, people are not really impressed. And The Rock, goddamn The Rock, hey man, dude, you need to find a way of coming back. You need to find, anyway, if I was to give this movie out of 5, I know people are saying whatever they're saying about the movie, but if personally I was to give it out of 5, and you know me, if you've watched my channel, you know the kind of person that I am, I would give this a 3.5. Why? The visuals are great. I had a great cinematic experience. The story is not perfect. I think it's convoluted. There are too many characters. I think we should have had just Moana, eggs and bacon, and maybe Mayu to pop up. I thought it was convoluted because now they have 3 extra characters, and then now they have minions. You know why? Because Disney saw Despicable Me, what they've been able to do with minions, especially selling toys. And now they wanted minions for Moana. And so Moana officially has minions. Now, do I hate those minions? I don't hate those minions. I like what they were able to do with the idea behind those minions because they feel like they are a culture. You know, they have a hierarchy of power. You have the king, and you can tell who the king is, despite the fact that they are like super small. You can tell who the king is, and then you can tell who the hero of the village is. And he clearly does that effortlessly without them telling you. Again, like the minions, communication is not verbal. They have a different way of communicating. They do some other things that are very creative. So those creative moments I appreciated. But again, as I said, this movie feels extremely convoluted. There are so many things. If you remember, the reason I loved the first movie was how novel and authentic the movie felt, because it just followed how many characters? Like 4 characters, because it was Moana, it was Mayu, eggs and bacon. If I mention egg and bacon, I think you understand what I'm saying. So it was pretty basic. It was simple. It was simplistic in its approach and the story. So it's something that you could go in, follow, come out, and it felt like everyone was giving their all for this particular story. It felt authentic, like it came from a very special place. It came from people who are dedicated. It's like the studio, we're not looking at them, they were like, oh, there are guys who are making a new film. Nah, it doesn't matter, let them do whatever they want. And now, this movie felt like the studio went like, oh, so you made that work. Okay, this looks good, yeah, kids love this. So we need to get adults, we need to get more people. We need to double down on what we had, and then we need to add more things, you know. We want minions. Yeah, and we want to make it feel more epic, much grander, spectacle. We want, though, I love the third act of this movie. Not because of the villain and stuff, because of the color play. Yeah, whatever they did with violet, purple colors and oranges in one or two scenes, I thought that was pretty good. And the fact that it went dark, it went all black, I thought that looked very, very interesting. Now, the thing about that third act still is Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four, the second Fantastic Four movie. If you remember what they did with Galactus, they kind of did the same thing with the third act, and I'm like, why? Why? I mean, I was seated there and I was like, this needed, have you seen Kubo and the Two Strings? If you've seen that movie, you understand just how grounded it is. The characters and then the villain. How they make the villain, you know, the villain, it reaches a certain point, and that twist at the end with Kubo and the Two Strings makes you feel something. You empathize with the character, you also empathize with the villain. You know, they totally ground. Yes, it's this grand epic tale, but they ground it and make it feel, you know, feel smaller than it actually is, and bring it down to people. You know, bring it down to being relatable to people, making it feel that, making you as the audience connect them from the ground level. It's just not huge spectacle and huge crazy CGI and stuff. Though the CGI in Moana 2 is actually, it's superb, it's amazing. And so yeah, you have that third act, it's spectacle, it's huge, but I just wish it would have been given that Kubo and the Two Strings direction. I wish, in fact, Why didn't they just go for that director? Maybe go for those animators and create a totally different Moana movie. You know, you remember the first Moana movie, how it looked like? Just flip the card and say, we are going to make a sequel that is absolutely different from the first one. I know that formulas are supposed to work in a different way, but they just shock the system. They shock the system by giving us a different style, different story, same characters, but approach totally different, with a much more emphasis on creativity in the animation process and the story. But anyway, I don't work for Disney, I'm not an executive, so I don't have the right to say what they were supposed to do. But generally, in terms of visual effects, this looks great. On the big screen, it's amazing. There are moments, and this is the other thing that I thought for me was odd. It felt more like it felt like it had a blend of Greek mythology. Yeah, there's some things that I was watching and I was like, if Poseidon's story, I don't know. There were just things like that I was like, this feels like it's lifted from something, you know. You see a big creature that swallows stuff, you're like, seems familiar. But that's how I felt. Apart from that, now, in terms of character design and character animation, of course, they borrowed straight from the first one. They were pretty good. I did not like the music, except, and this is the biggest reason that I actually liked the third act. The third act, there's a scene with a bubble. And everything that happened to Mayu happens with the tattoos and stuff. And so you have Moana and Mayu in that bubble. And something happens with the color orange, and some things appear. And the song that they actually played at the beginning of that scene, I was like, damn, I like that. I like what I'm looking at. I like this particular moment. But then they move on swiftly, they cut to that, and whatever happens to what happens, and then they cut to that, and then we go into something else. Everything just feels rushed because they have so many things. Everything just keeps moving. And so I felt that scene could have been better if they could have stayed with that, whatever they were doing at that moment. If you've watched that movie, it's the bubble, someone is holding someone down, and something else appears. And the song that they sing during that particular split moment, I thought that was spectacular. It suited the moment, and it just made everything feel something. But then whatever happens, and then we go to another song, and I was like, missed moment. So generally, this is an okay movie. I think for kids are going to, oh my gosh, this is going to make a lot of money. This is going to be like Despicable Me 4. It's going to make a lot of money because of kids. Because it is designed to appeal to kids. And it's going to do it because it looks great. There are some great characters. I'm a big fan of Moana's smaller sister. There's just, their relationship is so genuine. It just feels good watching them, both of them on screen. But generally, yeah, it is a disappointment compared to the first one, a huge one, because there's just so many things going. Yeah, and you also have a Zack Snyder moment, clean Zack Snyder moment. Yeah, if you saw the movie, you understand what I'm talking about. Like, there's a particular scene that is it's 100%. I would put it at, if you remember Wonder Woman in Justice League, that scene that they are like in, I don't know what that thing is, and then the sword has fallen, and then the Flash comes in, and Wonder Woman is just stretching to reach out to something. There's one moment I was like, yup, Zack Snyder, inspired by Zack Snyder. Anyway, 3.5 out of 5. If you're looking for Moana Part 1, you're not going to get that. If you're looking for just a spectacular, visually appealing, I mean, spectacle over everything else, style over substance, this is it. It's a fantastic cinematic experience visually, but it's a shell in terms of story, in terms of music, and in terms of character writing, because you don't get, as I said, we don't get moments with Moana and Mayu, because that was the heart of the first film. And Mayu was actually, was not a good guy, if you remember very well. He was not the hero of that particular story. He didn't come in as the hero. And so following him was much more interesting. But this time, he's much more of this beloved character. He's much more of, he's much more of this grand thing that we see, but we don't see a lot of him. because we always have these other people that we're supposed to focus on. There's all this noise around both of them that you lose a lot of what you remember from the first one. So would I recommend you to go watch this? Yeah, if you love great visuals, you're going to have a great time. If you love animation, you're going to have a great time, but don't go for the story. So basically that's it. Remember to always watch what you enjoy and enjoy what you watch. I shall see you on the next one. Please subscribe. I wouldn't ask you to comment, but subscribe. If you enjoyed this, you can like, and I shall see you on the next one.